Perfect.
Okay, great. So, hi everybody. Today we are exploring how AI is transforming breast cancer detection. And yeah, please join us with Francisco Maria Calisto, founder and CEO of BreastScreening-AI, a startup using AI to improve early diagnosis and clinical workflows. Actually, with Francisco, we have met during Web Summit in Lisbon, where he was there with his team presenting their results. And yeah, thank you so much for accepting my invite for today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Francisco, could you please let us know a little bit more about what inspired you to create BreastScreening-AI?
So first of all, I would say that the topic is very important because every year about 2 million women suffer and are newly diagnosed by breast cancer. And just to have an idea, it's not cancer for women at all. Is the problem is really huge. So we have 2 million women that are diagnosed every year. We have between 4 and 6 billion dollars in the USA every year that are spent, for instance, on false positives. The lack of radiologists worldwide is also a big problem here because from one hand, early detection programs like screening are being very well implemented and they are precious to breast cancer. But on the other hand, the number of radiologists are decreasing. So that's a problem that we want to solve with automation and modern AI, let's say deep learning methods, can try to solve this problem. We started in 2015, so almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, acquiring some data from public hospitals in Portugal, specifically Hospital Fernando Fonseca. And we acquired data to provide the information to the models. And from that stage, we we were acquiring mammograms, ultrasound, and MRI. And actually, our value proposition is the multimodality approach we have. We can train the models on a multimodality fashion way. So this means that our models can cover the can fully cover the diagnostic scope and provide not only screening but also diagnostic and some predictions of treatment as well. So therefore, we could reduce and cover a lot of issues that I previously mentioned. For instance, as I said, I am going to underline again, false positives just in the USA, they are costing between 4 to 6 billion every year.
Wow.
So dollars every year. This is a huge amount of money. If we reduce the false positives from 40 to 20%, and these statistical figures are published in top tier journals, so you can refer them. If we reduce the false positives from 40 to 20%, this means that we can reduce the costs 50%.
Oh, wow.
So something that in America would cost between 4 and 6 billion, now it's going to cost between $2 and $3 billion every year. And we have a cost window to improve that even more. So we can improve our models. We just need more data. We need more radiologists working with us, more hospitals, and so on. Um, but the big picture here is we can reduce also the false negatives, and false negatives in an extreme situation can
Um,
mean death.
Sorry,
So
could you please explain what is false positive and false negative, just for
yes, of course. So
everyone?
false positive is when a radiologist is diagnosing a patient. So all of these are predictions when you are diagnosing a patient, and then you overdiagnose it. So in reality, it was a benign case, but you said it was a malignant. What happens when you say this? When a radiologist overdiagnoses a patient, this means that the patient is going towards biopsy. It's an unnecessary biopsy. You will have a cost, those 4 to 6 billion in the USA. So a lot of unnecessary procedures are coming from the false positives. But the false negatives are much more severe because it's when you underdiagnose. It's
Mm.
when you read the image and say, okay, it's a benign cancer, but in reality, that patient has malignant cancer. And because you underdiagnose, this can mean death. So false negatives, fortunately, are lower, but still the most important metric to follow. And we can reduce false negatives from 10 to 4%. So
Wow.
this can mean in extreme cases, and the majority actually are extreme cases that can translate to death. This can mean we can reduce 6% of the false negatives, meaning that we can have a reduction of false negatives more than a half, meaning
Oh,
that more than a half people can be saved on using by using our technology. That's our story, and like I said, of course, as a CEO and as a founder of this idea, I'm biased, but you can read, you can replicate our papers and take your conclusions.
wow, that sounds really super impressive. Could you please explain how do you integrate AI into the whole radiology workflow? So does it act as a secondary reader, a triage tool, or something more maybe?
That's a great question. So we have a second reader opinion working as something that is collaborative and a tool that supports decision making of radiologists. So we are not a substitute. We are just an add-on. But with this add-on, we can reduce diagnostic time almost 4 times faster. We can reduce false positives from 40 to 20%. We can reduce false negatives from 10 to 4%, meaning an average of 25% reduction of diagnostic error. So this means that we can reduce the number of deaths, the number of unnecessary procedures by speeding up the diagnostic time. If you speed up the diagnostic time, you can diagnose. So we are doing almost 4 times faster diagnosis. This means that we can diagnose almost 4 times more patients
Wow.
without increasing the cognition load. Because we thought about, okay, but if we are putting radiologists diagnosing more patients, it's going to be a higher cognitive load. It's going to bring to even more burnouts. Radiologists right now are having a lot of burnouts. It's a
Oh, okay.
lot of data to diagnose. but we could reduce the let's say the number of burnouts as well. But nevertheless, just to tell you that the way we designed our assistants, working as a second reader opinion, integrated seamlessly on the clinical workflow, we can bring them um, a smooth integration that does not change too much their day by day. But for patients, it changes a lot the results that our solution is bringing.
Yeah, so not only the results, but also the waiting time, because I think so many times what I heard that people were waiting months just to go for a single um, MRI or some
Mhm.
some treatment, and in this way the whole process can be way more faster. So that's really super impressive.
Yes,
Um,
and we already tested the integration and all of these metrics in more than 25 hospitals. So
wow.
right now we tested the solution in a variety of clinical environments that let's say already provide evidence of the results that we achieve, the results that we want to do in practice, the waiting times. We want to reduce as much as possible.
So 25 hospitals means that most probably you are operating not only in Portugal, but also
Mhm.
internationally.
Exactly. Yeah.
When it comes to bias in medical AI, then it's actually a serious concern. And how do you ensure that your model performs equally well across the different populations, such as ethnics, ages, and breast densities?
That's a great question. Our architecture, so we have the model, but we don't bring outside of the hospital the data. We put a
Oh,
node of the model inside the hospital. The node retrain in every bunch of patient sets, and then we could generalize better because we don't need to extract the data. We don't need to bring the data with us. We follow a federated approach of
mhm.
the training sets of the model. Actually, it's let's say an approach a little bit different from federated is the Edge AI. It's similar to federated, but with different layers of learning models. And the way we do that brought us conclusion. We could introduce, for instance, our models in Poland, in Portugal, with different populations. For instance, Polish populations are homogeneous, and Portuguese populations are heterogeneous. So we could balance the demographic characteristics of the data sets by doing so. We also have partnerships that still give us the chance to train, to have data sets, big data sets to train the models. Right now, we have more than 15K number of patients. So this
Wow.
may be one of the biggest. We never know because we don't know what our neighbor has, but these may be one of the biggest private data sets worldwide. But like I said, I don't have evidence on that because the secrets from the others are not my secrets. But I would say that, of course, you have much bigger public data sets, but as my neighbor has access to that public data set, we also have access to that public data set. So we have the public data sets We pre-trained our models in almost any good and famous breast cancer data sets. We have several data sets that we know and we are training, but still the private data sets we have, because we have a lot of supervised data. We have the contours of the lesion, what type of lesion is that contour, what type of margin of shape. We follow the lexicon, the breast BIRADS lexicon, its expression in radiology definition. So the lexicon says, okay, you have this severity classification of that breast, and that classification is coming from the margin being of this category, the shape of the mass being of that category, and then you can achieve that severity classification for that patient. So that's the way we are working on this. Actually, we have a partnership with UPMC. So we have access to a lot of data, and we are working on other partnerships, working on these type of relations.
Besides data, you also have some partners when it comes to technology, like Siemens or AWS. How have these collaborations helped you scale the platform and gain some traction?
Great point. So AWS, I will start by doing and talking about Amazon AWS. We have a partnership with them. They give us 100K in credits for computational resources. It's a great deal because sometimes we have our own machines, and we have also access to supercomputers. We have access to the supercomputer, Pittsburgh supercomputer. We have access to our Portuguese supercomputers, also European supercomputers. We still have our own servers for conceptual piloting. It's important because I don't need to ask anyone, or I don't need to ask for more credits to run my model. But still, sometimes we need the flexibility of cloud computing, such as Amazon AWS. So it's having, what I can tell as a founder of a company based in AI technologies, I think maybe it's not a priority for the short term, but it's good if you have that possibility, like we have in the past, of having 3 approaches for training your models. That's what I recommend, because flexibility is really important. So Siemens, let's talk about Siemens. One-of-a-kind partnership that we have with Siemens Healthineers in Portugal. We are finishing a test bed at Hospital da Luz. It's a private hospital here in Portugal. And Siemens Healthineers is supporting our validation. So we are getting great results. We finished already the testing phase on the lab that we did here at Instituto Superior Técnico, University of Lisbon. So not forgetting, BreastScreening-AI is a spin-off from Instituto Superior Técnico, University of Lisbon. So we did some validation here at Instituto Superior Técnico, lab validation. Then we validated that at Siemens Healthineers, and now we start the validation actually a couple of weeks ago. at Hospital da Luz. So we are moving forward. Siemens is interested in this technology, and we are getting to the right path with Siemens, and we love to work with Siemens.
That sounds really great. From the radiologist point of view, how do they like or what are their response for your system?
Part of my research field, which is human computer interaction, is to validate usability, do adoption studies, validate some assumptions with the end users. And 92% of radiologists agree that this is a good tool. And I'm not talking, we are not doing studies with 2 or 3 radiologists. In these studies, we have more than 60.
Oh.
So 60 radiologists working in the, for instance, the last study we did. And we have this statistical figure. 92% are happy with our solution. And it's not just asking them if they are happy or not. So it's not anything, it's not magic here. We use a user-centered design approach. This means that we get inside the hospitals, trying to analyze the clinical workflow, analyze end user needs, so radiologist needs. We co-design the solutions with the radiologists, so we co-designed the solutions the last 10 years with radiologists. And we achieve that because we use this approach. Nothing special, is just designing solutions that are tailored to the end users.
That's really amazing. Last but not least, what major advancements do you foresee in AI-based breast cancer detection over the next 5 or 10 years, so in the future?
In my opinion, I believe that AI can help radiologists, and you can help in 2 ways. You can do what we are trying to do, what is our focus, which is augmenting human capacities, augmenting radiologists' capacities to give and provide the best decision making. That's our approach. On the other hand, and because this first approach, where we are focused on, is still trying to cover a region where humans are supposedly better than machines in critical decision making in high stakes domains. On the other hand, integrating AI in regions, when I say regions, is I'm just focused on radiology, but still inside radiology you can have several tasks to cover, several use cases to cover. So when you use AI in regions, radiology regions that are let's say more mechanical, it's not a critical decision is mechanical. I can give you an example. When you receive data from screening programs and you need to find or to create a system that can filter by priorities, because nowadays it's like first in, first out. So data is coming from the screening programs across a city or a national region, and then the radiologists start reading from the beginning until the end. And sometimes from the beginning until the end, it can take like 2 months, 3 months, and so on. So you need a system to filter by priority, and AI can solve that. And it's not as critical as you should think, because in the end of the time window, you will read all of those cases, but now you are going to read by an order that was, let's say, that was provided by an autonomous system. I think we have both. I like more human augmentation, the first approach, but I'm totally aware that the second approach, putting AI where humans are doing, let's say, mechanical tasks, things that are repetitive. You don't need to think much about it. It's like a must. But the good news are that our technology, because it's a multimodal technology, and because per patient we have much more data than our competitors, and by the way, we have patents worldwide on all of these, on the multimodality approach that we follow. So this means that AI for mammograms, ultrasound, and MRI, the standard in radiologists, the intellectual property is our. So the good thing of having this multimodality approach is, and focus on augmentation, human augmentation, is that when we are going to the second option, so mechanical tasks, let's say, repetitive tasks, we are going to be much better than our competitors that are just focused on one modality. So yeah, it's what we are doing.
Francisco, really, thank you so much for your time for today, explaining what this screening AI is doing. That was really interesting, and I'm really crossing my fingers for you for all the innovations.
Thank you so much.
Because that's really life-changing. Thank you so much, and yeah, hope to talk with you soon with your next updates, maybe during the next Web Summit in Lisbon.
Yes, let's see, and let's meet during Web Summit. Just text me.
Yeah, will do. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.